I have been thinking a lot about being a control freak. And this is something that lots of people have really negative experiences with other people. It's a place where people disconnect a lot, where one person or both people in a relationship of any kind, whether it's at work or whether it's a more intimate relationship, family relationship, friendship, um, if one or both of the people are control freaks, it can be a huge deterrent to connection. And I have personal experience with being a control freak. And I use the word control freak because that's what we're all familiar with. That's kind of paints a picture around how we view control in a relationship and in someone's life. We know a lot about people who are very passive and maybe even codependent, where they're the opposite. They don't really want any control, or they accept that they don't have any control. Whatever it is, they don't take control. And then there's people on the other opposite end of that spectrum that are very, very in control of things. They need to have control. They feel weak if they don't feel like they're in control. Sometimes they simply can't feel happy or fulfilled if they don't feel like they're in control in their life or in a situation or in a relationship. With my experience, I don't know that I was pushing people away necessarily. I'm not sure. But I realized after a few years that I need control and I need to feel like I'm in charge of my life, at least. But I started to realize that I was trying to take control of other people's lives when I saw that they weren't doing things that were best for them, best for their goals that they had set, or best for what I thought they needed in life. So if I felt like my way was better than their way, then I would try to push my way on other people. Sometimes it was something really simple where maybe my partner didn't pay some bills. And so instead of talking to them about it and helping them take care of that situation, if it was their bills, I would be more apt to take care of it myself and then maybe just complain about it later, instead of giving them a chance to have that control and to learn from their mistakes or whatever it may be. So for me, I felt like it was a good thing. I felt like it was a good thing that I was a control freak, because I felt like I was getting stuff done and I was so progressive, and I was learning and I was growing and I was taking care of shit, right? That's what I thought was good about being a control freak. And I felt like I was better at doing it than my partner, or better at doing it than my siblings or whoever, my friends. I felt like my way was the best way in some things. And so that was where I felt like I was starting to take other people's chance to learn, because I just knew what was best. And so I could just do it myself. And in a way, I was not only taking the power away from other people, but I was taking the power away from myself, in the sense that I had to take care of everything because people's expectations started going in that direction. Well, Lisa's going to take care of it because that's what she always does. If she sees a problem, she's just going to take care of it. I don't need to worry about doing my best, and I don't need to worry about learning. And so I want to kind of paint a different picture around the idea of being a control freak being so bad, but also I want to shed some light on it. It is a bad thing to be a control freak in where you're taking control from other people. For me, my biggest learning experiences were when I learned to separate what I was in control of and what other people were supposed to be in control of. What affected just me and what affected other people, and what I could control in a healthy way and what I couldn't control. Because I have a lot of anxiety, and I started realizing that having anxiety and being a control freak don't go well together at all. And so some questions I regularly have to ask myself now to keep myself from getting back into that rut is, does this serve me? Does this serve someone else? Is this a lesson just for me? Or is this a lesson that could be someone else's lesson that I might be taking away from them? If I do this thing and take control of this, am I taking control away from someone else? If I take control of this situation, am I pushing anyone away from me? And these questions can be molded to any situation. Even in the workplace, I've learned there were places where I would just go and do someone else's job if they weren't doing it right, or I would fix it myself instead of letting them learn from their mistakes. And really, I was creating more work for myself by being a control freak in the workplace than if I would simply let that person learn from their mistake and try again. And while in the moment it felt like I was being effective because I was getting it fixed right away and I was faster at it than that person over there, in the long run I became more in control of things that I shouldn't have been in control of. It was someone else's job and it was something that they weren't learning from and I was taking away from them, but I was also piling more work on my plate. In relationships, sometimes you push someone away and they don't even realize that you're pushing them away, and you don't realize that you're pushing them away until you're really far apart. And then you start to look back and say, what happened? And you have to realize that when you take someone else's opportunity to learn into your hands and you don't even learn because you already know, then you're putting yourself up on this higher pedestal. This person realizes they're down here because you're just going to fix it and you don't respect them enough to let them learn. That's pushing them away. When you take away the opportunity for someone to serve you because you like it done a certain way and you're just going to do it yourself, then you're also not necessarily pushing them away, but you're not allowing them to become closer to you in your relationship. If someone can't serve you, then you're limiting your connection opportunities. For me, when I started doing this and I started letting someone else fix their own mistakes or learn from their own experiences and progress in that way, at first, I didn't feel like I was benefiting from that. I didn't feel that immediate growth or that immediate benefit from not taking control of things. So when you start to give yourself a chance to let others do things that you would normally take control of yourself, realize that it's a process. It isn't going to feel amazing right away. And if it does, great. But there may be a few other experiences in the beginning of this new habit that you're going to form that it's hard, and it takes some time to get used to not being in control of everything, and it takes some time and it takes a lot of emotional stamina to be humble enough to let someone else take that experience and learn from it, or serve you, or be in charge of something that you've always been in charge of. It does. There's some pride to being in charge and being in control and knowing what's best. There's a lot of pride to that. There's a lot of, it feels good to feel like you're in charge of a lot of stuff, or to feel like you're better at it than other people, or that you're the only one and that you're needed because you know how to do something others don't. There's a lot of pride to that, and you kind of have to let that go. But when you get into that flow with the people that you really care about, that are going to go on this journey with you, whether they realize it or not, you'll start to be influenced by their service and by their love and by the way that they do. So in the long term, when you learn to let go of control where it's healthy, instead of being in control of everybody else's control space and yours, you find the benefits of feeling more ease in your life. So you're not stressing about being in control of everything. You're not stressing about being in control of other people, because really you can't control other people. You also allow other people to connect with you and to be closer to you, to serve you, to show you their worth in the ways that they need to show you. You allow loved ones to grow, in which case you can grow your relationship with them as they're growing. And you learn a new skill. It's never bad to learn a new skill, and to let go of stress and control where you can is a new skill, and that's really a healthy place to be in life. So I hope this helps some of you. I hope that as you're out there in the world, you can try to remember that being a control freak isn't always something people do on purpose. They don't have bad intentions all the time, but also understand that it's not a great thing. Look internally and see where you may be taking control, where you shouldn't be, and where it is not serving you or others, and start letting go of some of that control, and learn to find that balance between where you should be in control and where you shouldn't be in control. You should let someone else be in control. It's time to connect.